big trick will be how many, you know, personal pictures can get made within the system in Hollywood.
Martin Scorsese.
Most people are shocked when they realize that movies disappear.
George Lucas. Three great directors raise questions and hopes for the future of film. Three legendary directors join Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert to look at the future of the movie.
That's right, it's not a real balcony, it's only a set. And on this special program, Gene and I have gone behind the scenes to talk about the future of the movie. We visited three of America's best and most innovative directors to ask them to look into their crystal balls, to predict what the future holds for themselves, for their movies, and for moviegoing in general. We also asked about the future of old movies. How will they be preserved and seen in the future? I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. I began our look into the future by talking with the most successful director of our time, of all time, Steven Spielberg. Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, towering entertainment, everyone. Spielberg, 42 years old, has been described as the poet of suburbia, and he works in a suburban palace. His Amblin Entertainment office building on the Universal Pictures lot in Southern California is a massive Southwestern-style home, complete with a game room, country kitchen, and state-of-the-art screening room.
I traveled out to the Skywalker Ranch north of San Francisco, where 46-year-old George Lucas has developed one of the world's most advanced centers for film and video research and development. Paid for by the profit from the Star Wars bonanza, this state-of-the-art facility in the coincidentally named Lucas Valley is where special effects technicians, computer programmers, and audio and video inventors are finding ways to make a movie out of almost anything that George Lucas or anybody else can dream up. Not many people who saw the movie The Abyss, for example, had any idea that this creature, which seemed to be made entirely of water, was actually made entirely out of a computer program and laser technology made by wizards working for Lucas at his industrial light and magic company.
Finally, we both went to talk to Martin Scorsese, widely acknowledged by critics and his fellow directors as the greatest film artist of his generation. Scorsese, 47, is the director of Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Mean Streets, and he is most comfortable on the mean streets of New York City. Alone of these three directors, he has appeared in his own film. His biggest role, a disturbed passenger in the backseat of Robert De Niro's cab in Taxi Driver.
Did I tell you to do that with the meter? Put the meter back. Let the numbers go on. I don't care what I have to pay. I'm not getting out.
We talked to Scorsese in the Times Square office building where he works. We first wanted to know from each of these directors what their immediate future would be like in the 1990s.
You're going to get this question till you drop. The E.T. sequel. In the 90s?
No. Go further.
2010?
No.
2020?
No.
And just so people understand, when you say no, you're saying no to probably hundreds of millions of dollars. You know that.
Yeah. It ended. It was a wonderful love affair. And then it was over. And then Elliot went back to his life, and E.T. went back to his planet. There's no going back. There's nothing more to say. I said it all. But with Raiders, I had an appetite, as George did, for more adventure. And I still have an appetite to make adventure movies. Not the Raiders type of films, but I still want to do adventure films in my career.
What have you seen that you said, this could be? Let's just be speculative.
This could be a
feature film. Or there's something that I've been noodling around. This is possible.
Well, I mean, it's no secret that I'm interested in a biography on Howard Hughes. He was really just a complete contradiction. He was a movie producer. You know, he was a megalomaniac. He was interested in airplanes. You know, I have a love affair with airplanes ad nauseum, as did Hughes. And there are many different, and also that he became completely reclusive and existed in kind of an inner world. And he was at one point in his life, for several decades, the most gregarious person, and then the following several decades, the most infamously reclusive personality that's ever been talked about in American history or 20th century history, and I just find that very fascinating.
It's been about 7 years since the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
83, was it?
Yeah, 83.
Yeah. I understand that you're finally going to go back into that universe.
Yeah, I've been, obviously I have these stories, and I've been trying to figure out a time when I'm going to devote, a serious amount of time to bringing these next 3 stories to the screen.
When you started on the Star Wars saga, you had 9 stories all together in your mind.
No, what really happened was I wrote a screenplay. The screenplay was way too big, and so what I decided to do was take the first act of that screenplay and make it into a movie. And so that's what I did with Star Wars.
But Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi are really 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
And you're now thinking of doing 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, because I have all the information on that, and it's sort of the stories. I know the stories, and
Do they take place in the lifespan of earlier in the lifespan of the characters in 4, 5, and 6, or?
yeah, it's really about Obi-Wan Kenobi as a boy, and
Can't imagine him as a boy.
well, he was a boy, and so was Anakin Skywalker, and who became Darth Vader eventually, and it's those characters and how they ended up getting where they were.
In terms of genres and your future, what haven't you done that is on your checklist?
Romance. Well, an unhappy romance, but it's a romance. So, unrequited love.
There's unrequited love throughout all your pictures. There's unrequited
Well,
love.
this will have costumes. 1870s.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's a nice project. I hope to do it in a couple of years.
Actually, the first film by any one of these 3 directors in the 90s will be Scorsese's Goodfellas, a look at 3 generations in the Mafia. They're getting a rare glimpse at a work print of this movie, which will come out later this year, and in this scene, Scorsese's mother, Catherine, plays the mother of mobster Joe Pesci, who has brought friends Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta to his house following a murder.
Tonight we were out late. We took a ride out to the country, and we hit one of those deers. That's where the blood came from. I told you. Jimmy told you before. I want to say. Anyway, it reminds me, I need this knife. I'm going to take this. It's okay?
Okay, yeah.
I just need it for
Bring
a
it
while.
back, though,
Critical success has rarely been a problem for Martin Scorsese, but commercial success has been a problem.
I really hope one day, maybe in this decade, to have one of my pictures make a lot of money. That'd be great.
That would be a different genre.
That would be a different genre. A picture that makes a lot of money. They make some money. They make some, but not these figures are amazing, aren't they? Pictures come out, and when he makes 160 million, they get upset.
If you were looking at the way movies are going, though, in terms of the so-called home run picture, the $200 million picture.
Yeah, these things are amazing.
The $300 million picture. Do you think that's bad? Is that going to be bad in the next 10 years? That so many studios seem to be swinging for the fences.
I think it could be. It's difficult, and that's why I think, in a way, I would need some names to help get certain kinds of stories I want made, because the stories are no way, in the studio's eyes, no way going to go for that level of $200 million receipts.
For George Lucas, the problem isn't how much his movies might make, but how much they might cost.
The costs of doing these kind of movies has just gone completely through the roof. I mean, if I were to try to do a Return of the Jedi today, using the same technology and the same techniques that I used, 7 years ago, but to do that movie today would cost, I would say, at least $75 million.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
But yet, in 7 years, there's been so much advance in the computer technology and in the other.
Well,
when you made Star Wars, the first picture, the personal computer didn't exist.
But the thing of it is that that computer technology isn't really to a point now where it's cost effective. And I would say within 5 years, the computer technology will be cheaper than the old-fashioned one.
It's amusing because people are so willing to casually say, oh, it's all done on computers. Whatever you're talking about, people say, oh, it's all done on computers these days. And it isn't all done on computers yet.
No. Believe me, I've been involved in a lot of state-of-the-art computer technology, and you'd be surprised what they can't do. We got a ways to go. They will be able to do it. but they can't do it right now.
A long time ago, you once told me, speaking of George Lucas, you said, someday we'll all be working for George.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more likely, I think, that someday everyone will be working for you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is, as a producer, no, not really, because I'm not really interested. If that were true, I'd be running a studio by now.
You've had the offers.
I've had, yes, many times to really, run a movie studio and make 18 to 25 films a year. And I just don't want to do that. Because how do you be attentive to 18 to 25 movies a year? It's a business, and sometimes you have to make movies you don't want to make to fill the bill, and it's a terrible way to get through your creative life anyway.
Now you're 42 years old. Are you going to grow up in the 90s?
I don't know. I'm not going to say I hope so. I mean, I'm not looking to grow up in the 90s. I'm not making a conscious effort to grow up in the 90s. I think I'm changing all the time, but I also think that I'm not going to know really who I am through my movies until I've made a lot more films and can look back and say either I grew up or I never grew up. That's not my problem.
Then what is?
I don't have any problems in that way, in that regard. My problem is finding good stories from my own imagination. It's not, it's never been easy. Talk to producers on Broadway, in the old days, we've got to have a show, we've got to have a show. Pacing, smoke coming out of their feet as they pace hours in a hotel room trying to think of a show. It's the age-old problem, what do we do to entertain you next? What do we do to entertain ourselves next?
Continuing our special show on the future of the movies, we were fascinated to discover the frustrations that directors Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and George Lucas have had. Frustrations that will color the pictures they make from now on. For example, over the years of their separate successes, each has been intrigued by the challenge of whether he could ever make a movie in the style of the others.
Your first two features, THX 1138 and American Graffiti, were what could we call personal films?
Well, THX especially was a personal film in that was the kind of movie making I liked to do and was doing at the time. I really saw myself when I got out of school as being a cinema verite documentary filmmaker who, on the side, was able to make these sort of personal movies, visual films. That was the closest thing. That was sort of taking my personal kind of vision and trying to translate it to the theatrical medium. And, with dubious success, but it was an interesting experiment. American Graffiti, on the other hand, was a regular movie where there are a lot of human beings and actors and they act and it's funny and it's like a real movie. So that was a challenge there. And I obviously took something out of my past and I made something that I cared about. But it was, in a way, part of it was a challenge to sort of learn theatrical filmmaking.
I was going to say, American Graffiti is a film that is a starting point for a career that you haven't had yet.
Pretty much.
A different career, as a different filmmaker.
Yeah. Well, and my career has just sort of gone sideways. I don't know why, other than I did what I seemed to be right at the moment and seemed to be the thing I needed to do. And a lot of my friends at the time after Star Wars were saying, why don't you do a movie like Taxi Driver? Why don't you do some artistic statement? Why are you making children's films? I mean, this is completely lunatic. And I said, well, I want to do it.
You get people who like your work and want you to be
somebody else. A lot of people like my work, and they say, now can you be somebody different? I say, what's wrong with me? They say, we like all your films now, but you're starting to repeat yourself. I'm getting a little tired of this sweet stuff. Why don't you be somebody else, make a real dark movie? Show us your dark side.
And to them, in the 90s, they're not going to get it, right?
Well, I haven't shown myself my dark side yet. I mean, how am I going to show it to anybody else? We've all got them, but, we have to acknowledge them before we make movies about them. No, I mean, we all do different things. I could never make Raging Bull. I don't think Marty could have made, let's say, Close Encounters in the same way. He would have made a wonderful and interesting Close Encounters. I don't think I would have made a wonderful or interesting Raging Bull. Marty likes primal life. He likes the primal scream. He's the best director of the primal scene in film history. The primal scream scares the stuff out of me.
What is it that somebody like Spielberg has? I mean, he's the home run hitter of all time, of your age group. What does he have that you don't have in that way?
Well, I really think he has his hand right on the pulse of what the public, not only what the public wants, but their fantasies, what they need. And what they needed in the early, well, 75 was Jaws, but I'm talking about E.T. and Close Encounters in the late 70s, and that's that fantasy, the sense of wonder and that sense of real theatrical magic. It's the kind of thing I want to see. You know, the kind of thing I grew up watching. The Disney, it's like Disney. Really had that. It was just so fascinating. I mean, it's the kind of picture I like to go in a theater and see and be in a wrap-around screen, sit in the second row, and have incredible sound, and it makes $200 million. It's terrific.
Do you think you can make a picture like that, congenitally?
I don't know if I can.
Popular imagination.
I don't know if I can. You see, that's the thing. I don't know if I like to watch them. I don't think I can do it.
You've talked about the aspirations of kids in your films, to have a pet, an E.T., to see a creature from another planet, Close Encounters, to survive a shark. What do 42-year-olds have fantasies about?
Well, 42-year-olds dream about spaceships, shark survival, you know, fedora hat and leather jacket escapades across the globe. You know, 42 years old, you know, 82 years old, doesn't matter what age you are, the child is still alive inside of you, even if you dwarf it by, just by sheer neglect.
I want to ask that question again, because I don't know if you're giving me a really good answer, and that is, what do 42-year-olds fantasize about? Because I have a feeling that it is not creatures from another planet.
Well, the one thing we all have in common, that anybody, you see, a 42-year-old fantasizes about, you know, excitement and emotions, whether they're uplifting or they're going to, you know, going to put your feelings down.
What about the ultimate sexual encounter, a truly close encounter?
Moi? To film that? I've always been embarrassed by screen sexuality. It's always embarrassed me. It's embarrassed me because it hasn't often been done real well, and when it has been done, it's been no different than the last couple of sexual encounters in other movies, and one of the most original sexual encounters was one of the most honest, which was in Nick Rogue's Don't Look Now. There haven't been a lot of Don't Look Now since Don't Look Now. And I also find that movies tend to stop for love scenes. That what is said between the people in daylight is often much more poignant and emotional and sensually suggestive than the arbitrary cutaway with the backlight coming through the window, you know, and the rolling in the hay. It just, you know, to me is, you know, there have been very few films where that's important.
Nobody knows a director's work better than the director himself. And so we asked all three of our great American directors to choose what they think is the master image in their work. The one visual image or approach or style that best captures their whole artistic personality. For Martin Scorsese, it came from the movie many people think was the best film of the 1980s.
To people that don't know you, there may be some. You once told me about this concept of the master image, of the single shot.
Oh, yeah,
that represents a whole film. You want to come up with a master image that would sum up you, that you say, you know, if I started grabbing film out of your vault, you say, leave me this frame, because this is what I stand for.
Well, that's a hard one. You know, I know I should say something witty, but I can't. It's like,
I don't want you to say something witty. I'd like you to
bright, or, you know.
Well, let's take Raging Bull, because it was voted the best film of the 80s, and it's certainly one that you're pleased with.
Well, I think the opening title shot, the shot that's used over the titles, has that quality for me. Sense of desolation, the sense of loneliness, and that sense of that ring being, in a way, not different from the kitchen or the bedroom or the living room or the street. That sense of loneliness and a sense of isolation and fighting out your life, struggling to survive, you know, and struggling to be, you know, what you think may be a good person or a good man.
I think for me, it's a pace and an editorial style more than it is an actual photographic image that is the essence of what I am. I've noticed that the one thing that I bring to the medium that is very unique to me is that sort of pace and editorial style, which is probably reflects my personality. It's hard to see.
Can you give us a series of 4 shots that embody your pace and editorial style?
What, a series of shots?
Yeah, we'd have to have more than one shot if we were going to talk about pacing.
Yes. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is a very odd little sequence in Star Wars where they escape from the Death Star, and it's sort of a, you know, they're shooting the TIE fighters. They're in the Millennium Falcon. They're sort of in their gun ports. And that little gun port sequence is, I think, an example of that.
That's it! We did it! We did it!
This is real tough. I start throwing out all your films, and you say, give me this one negative. Let me hold this one. What occurs to you?
Well, that's the best and maybe the hardest question to answer, because it's kind of like saying, you know, which of your 4 kids do you like the most? You know, it's hard for a parent to answer that about when they have a lot of children. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think maybe the one image for me, I mean, you're asking me the question, I feel obligated to give you an answer, so let me give you an answer, even if I take it back in my sleep tonight, okay?
Fine.
I think it's the little boy in Close Encounters opening the door and standing in that beautiful yet awful light, just like fire coming through the doorway.
And what it means to you is basically a symbol of the human condition, that we're all boys or girls standing in front of a door at all times.
That we don't know what's out there, and yet we should discover what's out there. We shouldn't be afraid of not knowing, and we should just take a step toward what we don't understand.
Each of the directors we talked with was most concerned that Hollywood remember and preserve its past in the future. According to Spielberg, Lucas, and Scorsese, film preservation is one of the most important issues for the 90s.
25 pounds. I don't pay that much for my Sunday breeches.
You're watching Becky Sharp, the first Technicolor feature film ever made. It doesn't look or sound very good after 55 years. So how do you turn this scratchy, faded, dirty old film into this?
Well, I've spoken to him, and he thinks you'd make a very fine console at some distant spot.
When? When? I thunder when?
And how do you restore John Wayne to full living color in She Wore a Yellow Ribbon?
But I know your performance under your new commander will make me proud of you. 'Cause I've always been proud of you.
The answer is restoration. And the restoring and preservation of classic movies is one of the great issues facing the motion picture business in the 90s.
The 2 examples we showed you are from the amazing, important work being done at the UCLA Film and Television Archive. UCLA is at the forefront of work to save our film history, a subject that few people worried about until they began to notice that nitrate film, the kind of film once used for all movies, actually disintegrates with time. All 3 directors we spoke with have a big interest in film preservation.
It's our heritage. It's a very valuable thing, and it's a shame to see it sort of just drift away. I think most people are shocked when they realize that movies disappear, that they just disappear. You know, and if somebody goes to look and they've heard about a movie and they've discovered it doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
Most people are shocked to find out the movies even exist because they think that they're just there in the theater somehow.
Yeah.
They don't think that a
Probably
can
right.
is carried from the airplane by somebody.
It's insane. We have but it's very consistent with the American society. You know, we value the least those things which are the most meaningful to us, or the most valuable to us. And in a real sense. You know, teachers, nurses, mothers, films.
And as these films sit in their vaults, they rot, they fade, they shrink, and I'm talking about the negatives now. And I think I'd like to say to the executives, something I've been saying all along, that they've got to spend more time preserving their assets and saving their assets, so to speak.
I thought you told me and Roger that Jaws was not in good shape.
It's in terrible shape. And we have just now, and we've been going all over the world looking for good prints that might have been misplaced when the film was first exhibited in Europe, let's say, in 1975.
What happened?
Just, you know, bad storage, bad preservation techniques. That's all there is to it. The Egyptians knew, but we don't know how to, they knew how to preserve their people 3,000 years ago. We don't know how to preserve our film in the 90s. And there are people who know how to do it. It just is going to take money and a commitment on the part of the owners, the corporations, to really want to save their films.
One classic film that has been saved is Lawrence of Arabia. Winner of 7 of the 10 Academy Awards it was nominated for in 1962. But after 20 years of shoddy re-editing and shockingly bad storage, this great film was just about ruined. However, through an incredible 2-year project completed just last year, Lawrence was restored to its original design. The movie's director, David Lean, and star Peter O'Toole were among the many people brought back to re-record original dialogue and re-edit the film. Involved in the process of saving Lawrence and the leading proponent of film restoration is director Martin Scorsese.
This is the can from the Columbia Vault that they found when they went looking for Lawrence of Arabia. This is the condition that the film can was in.
Well,
of one of the cans in the vault, and they were all in equally bad shape.
Well, this, of course, is an extreme. You know, this is an extreme situation. It's 65mm film, and it's, you know, this is what happens. I mean, you have to understand. I mean, there was a period, I think, in the late '60s and early '70s in Hollywood where it was before video, and a lot of these things were lots of changes in studio heads and that sort of thing, administrations, and the last thing in the world they could think of was what was in the vault. What was in the vault should be okay. You know, they're finding it out now, and they are becoming more aware of it because not only with video and laserdisc and satellite soon, I mean, all of that, their vault is really corporate assets. It's the corporate assets. It's the most, if not the most important thing. The second most important thing. The first thing is, of course, the productions that they make each year.
What kind of thinking goes into this? Do they only think about new production and they don't think about investment of capital in preservation of their assets, of their past?
Well, the tradition in the film business is once you show the movie in the theater, then that's it, it's dead. You know, and then in the 50s, they began to realize that, well, maybe it's not dead. Maybe if you put it on television, it might have another life. And then they said, fine, that's right, but then you sold the television rights and then it's dead and we don't worry about it anymore. And then all of a sudden, even the video cassettes. And they say, well, it's not really dead now. And slowly it's dawning on people that actually these films have a life that can go on for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
And I'm real concerned that even though they say, don't worry, our films are preserved on videotape, well, videotape also falls apart. You know, they say, don't worry, we're preserved on disc. Well, disc can get ruined. You know, I think they've got to go back to the negative, which is, you know, just short of the inspiration, which is often, you know, always a filmmaker, and, you know, take those little nuggets and treat them like antiquities. You know, treat them the way people run around, you know, spending hundreds of millions of dollars buying French Impressionism. Let's treat our films like they're art, works of art, and not just commodities to be rolled off and rolled off and rolled off until someday in the future they'll be able to cut off the heads of the actors from the 90s and put on the heads of the popular actors from the 21st century.
I mean, it is the end of the century now. It's the last decade. This is the art form of the century. It's American, you know, and this whole 100 years is like a golden age. Forget the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, and, you know, when we look back, people in the 2050 are going to look back and look back at this century as the golden age of cinema, not only in America but everywhere else. Certain kinds of films being made, and we're the ones right now in Hollywood. We're the ones right now, filmmakers, and the studios and the archives. We're the ones who are going to get caught with the rap if we don't take care of them. You know, they're going to say, why didn't they do anything about it? And we're they in that way.
It's Magic Summer from Coca-Cola Classic.
You never know
You might find magic in a Coca-Cola Classic.
The icy cold, real cola taste of Coca-Cola Classic.
Can't beat the real thing.
Play the Magic Summer Radio Giveaway. For details, listen to Hot 97, because there's magic in the real thing.
Exhilarating. It's all natural, all fruit juices with sparkling water. Definitely makes you smile. No additives, no preservatives. Tingling, tickling sensation as you're drinking it. The night my husband proposed to me was the first time I had Sundance. I consider it very romantic. You know what I'm saying?
Sundance, for all the right reasons.
Pearl knows in today's world there's no excuse for having only one pair of glasses. Because now when you buy one pair with the Pearl coupon, you get a second pair from our specially tagged collection free. Progressives, tints, and coatings available at additional charge on second pair. Valid through August 18th, 1990. Now at participating Pearl locations and at Pearl Express, where you get glasses in 1 hour.
We'd like to make a point. With this filthy piece of grungy burlap, Bold works like no regular detergent can, because Bold has deep fiber action that actually fluffs up and untangles fibers while it releases trapped dirt. So even burlap comes out clean and as soft as a baby's, well, you know, Bold, for a clean that feels as good as it looks.
Sometime during the next 10 years, you might be trading in your old TV for a new set, high-definition television. Television's new wave will feature a widescreen format and a picture more than twice as good as today's sets can provide. Add in a large screen, and in terms of picture impact, the home TV experience will approach even real movies in a theater.
This is what your average television looks like, and the picture on it is made when lines of electronic information are sent back and forth across the screen. But even though the picture looks fine, there's something in it you can't see unless you get a close-up of the screen. There are lines of black in this picture, and they will someday be filled in to make a more clear, more perfect image. Along with that high-definition image, your television shape will change in the future to a widescreen format. A widescreen shaped more like a movie theater screen. Experimental high-def televisions are on display around the world right now, and some of their screens are very large with very good images. If you add a good sound system, well, some people may never want to go to a movie theater again. And all of our directors are wondering what this new technology might mean for the art of film.
HDTV really comes into this country. It's going to take this country by force. First of all, people who can afford it will buy it, and later the sets will get cheaper, and that's going to compete theatrically, because the pictures are going to be as clear almost in your home as 35mm movies. And that's when we might have to start thinking about a different kind of formatting of the motion picture experience. You know, larger theaters, bigger screens, first and foremost, better stories.
If people begin to have high-definition television in their homes so that they can look at a television picture or a home video or a movie of a video movie on a screen that is 10 feet wide, and they have surround sound, in fact, the home THX surround sound system,
right.
What, if anything, are you going to do to encourage them to feel that they still have to go out of their home to see your movies in first run?
Well, I think the marketplace will shift dramatically in that situation. I think certain kinds of movies will be made directly for the home, and certain kind of movies will be made for theater presentation. No matter how you get around it, the theater presentation is a group experience. And there is something very magical about a group experience that you cannot duplicate in the home unless you invite, 500 of your closest friends in.
Do you think in the age of high-definition television that theatrical movies will tend to be more spectacular, or?
I think the larger, more spectacular ones will end up in the theaters, and the more personal ones will end up on the screen.
When you look at a high-def picture, what do you see when you see it on a movie screen, and what do you see when you see it on a television screen with the director's eye?
It looked pretty good to me. It looked pretty good. I mean, it just seems to me that it's a whole new modus operandi. You have to, the cinematographer is mainly in the van, there's a great deal that goes on the set that has to do with camaraderie between people and just feeding off each other and giving a glance to your cameraman when something beautiful is happening in a scene, or you give each other a look and you know you got the take. And, you know, it's that kind of thing that you need, that I enjoy. I mean, if you can't enjoy it, if you can't enjoy it with the people, that's a problem. And I have a feeling some of the technology may be taking away some of that closeness. But again, I'm open to any of it because it's exciting.
You know, but you have to look 10, 20 years ahead and say, well, you know, I know for a fact that they will have video to the quality of the best film that we have today. You know, it may not get up there with show scan or some of the really high-tech stuff, but, you know, the normal, you know, 35mm image will definitely be available on video, I think, before the 21st century.
Will this take us finally to the vision that Francis Coppola was drawing for me in 1967 when he opened up his briefcase and pulled out all of these catalogs and said, the day's going to come when every man can walk around with a motion picture studio on his shoulder?
We have that today. It's the highest rated television show in America.
America's funniest home videos.
That's it.
Little quality control is needed, though.
Quality control is a little shaky. It's a short form right now, but hey, you know, they can move that to a half an hour. They can move it to an hour, and then they can move it to 2 hours. But the issue really gets down to, in all of this, it's like writing. Anybody can write. Very few people can write well.
When you see most people's home videos, do you want to say to them, why don't you just do this? It would make your film so much easier. Don't frame him in the center.
I try at almost all costs to avoid seeing people's home videos, Gene, and I've been pretty good about avoiding it up to now.
But that is the mistake, right? They frame everything dead center.
I don't know if there's any mistake so much. I think to people, video, having a camcorder at home, is just an extension of what they would choose to see. And people who are, I mean, I have seen a couple of videos, and let's say they go to Disneyland. Well, they're so excited about being on Disneyland, there's a lot of whip pans. There's 4 seconds of this, and quickly 2 seconds of this, and then right down to the child crying, and then back up to Mickey Mouse, and back down to the child screaming, and back up to Mickey Mouse, and back down to the child laughing, and back up to Mickey Mouse. I mean, it's just, you know, it's the appetite to get it all in during the vacation creates a lot of panning. That's mainly what I see when I see videos like that.
And your advice would be, as you said to filmmakers...
No. At home, my advice would be do anything you want. Just shoot from the heart. Don't listen to us. Just make your own movies.
Continuing our special show on the future of the movies, what will the movie-going experience be like in the theaters of the future? It will be a whole lot better than it is today, our directors hope, if audiences can become more active in demanding better treatment in movie theaters.
Going to the movies, it's an experience everyone has shared, but it's not always as much fun these days as it used to be. It has its problems, which our directors believe could be solved in the 90s.
They wish people would take more interest in how movie pictures and sound are delivered and can be improved.
I would certainly hope the theater owners take as much pride in exhibiting our films as we do in having made them.
You know they don't.
But if they did, then there would be average of 15 to 17-foot lamberts, which means the amount of light, a good, healthy amount of projection light onto the screen.
And what is there in an average theater instead of 15 to 17?
6 or 7 sometimes. I mean, sometimes we actually have to anticipate where our films are being exhibited so we can put more light in the lab into our films. So when they show in theaters that customarily run films with very weak projector bulbs, you get to see the image on the screen.
George Lucas, whose company developed the THX sound system, thinks people ought to check the equipment at their local theaters.
We've discovered that twice as many people will go to a THX theater showing the same movie in the same city in the same quality theater. And it's just because they want the best possible presentations.
People notice that. In other words, they actually...
People do notice it, and they will pay for it. Mm-hmm. They will drive further, they will drive out of one area into another area to get a higher quality presentation.
We also wondered if any new equipment in the 90s might make their work easier or more innovative.
Yeah, just a camera that moves and glances the way I do, the way I move my head. But I think it'd be very nauseating for the audience because, I want to move as fast as possible sometimes, or walking through the streets here in New York, or the clarity with which you just move and see another image or another, where you direct your glance. It's almost like, it's never quite, with the two gears on the camera, it's never quite accurate enough for me. It's never, that's one of the reasons I have with one of the problems with the Steadicam image, although I love, and I've used it a number of times, but to use it all the time, it gives, to me, the edges of the frame are always jiggling a little bit. It's kind of unsettling, it's insecure, and it's uncertain.
But your camera is almost always moving anyway. Even in shots that appear to be even in shots where the camera seems to be nailed down, if you look very carefully,
there's always creeping or something.
There's always some creeping going on in practically every single shot in all of your movies, which I think adds to the voyeuristic involvement of the audience, because a moving camera, it seems to me, is always more involving than a stationary camera.
Yeah, I can never really get as precise as the way I want it, the way I see certain things occur.
Is there an invention that you would like to see happen in the 90s that would help you make films better?
No. I think motion pictures is a very unique medium. Film and cameras and everything we have right now is all we need. I really believe that. It's all we need. You know, I mean, can you invent a new kind of bat to hit a baseball further without cheating? You know, there are certain forms in our culture and sports, certainly, where the sport has been there for a long time. It doesn't need improvement. I mean, football doesn't need, you know, a replay judge. I think that's a real burden of technology on human errors and judgment calls, whether right or wrong. But films have a camera. We've got the lab to process the film. We've got the lights. We've got the sound. No, I think we've got all we need.
George Lucas thinks differently.
We're just on the very leading edge of a whole technology. Whereas with, you know, running celluloid through gears, which is really, in the end, a 19th century idea. And that's 19th century technology. I think that they've pretty much pushed that to the limit. I don't see that going much further.
In the last analysis, none of these directors think that anything will ever replace going to see the movies in a real movie theater.
I think because of the way we are, I mean, human beings, there still has to be, and there still will be room for pictures that will be a communal experience. And maybe these will be the ones that make 8 or 9 years from now, $300 million or something, and maybe it'd be more like Steve and George's films. I don't know. And yet, I really think that's part of why do people still go to plays? Why do they go see Les Miserables or you know, Phantom of the Opera?
They like to get out of the house, for one thing.
Kids want to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Spielberg provides a case in point by describing the first time he showed E.T. to his son.
How did you show him the film? This might be interesting for people at home. They would think normally you'd just slip in a cassette. I have a feeling you showed it to him in a screening room.
In perfect projection with perfect sound, 1:6:6 aspect ratio, of course, yeah. I wouldn't let him see it on video.
Because?
Well, because there's an experience about sitting in a room, albeit maybe alone, years after the film had its theatrical, you know, run, but seeing a large image, direct, you know, light through the celluloid, projecting like a slideshow in movement against a screen with good sound and the smell of popcorn. It's exciting. It's theatrical. It's showmanship. I mean, movies are showmanship. When movies go on to videotape, and I love the idea that people still see our films in all different forms, but the showmanship is missing once you look at a movie at home.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Even in an intimate film, it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. It'll never be the same.
There is one issue that is going to link all three of these directors in the 1990s. They have announced the formation of an organization called the Film Foundation for Film Preservation. And all three have banded together. They have roped in some other directors. They're going to be going out and hitting up the studios for millions of dollars of money to make sure that the past is preserved in the future. And that's a great development.
And you know, it's funny that it would take somebody like that to tell the studios, look, this is your wealth. This is what makes this studio more than just real estate or all these cans of film down in the basement that have been neglected for so long. But that, to me, is the theme of this whole show, which is that in the old days, the golden age of Hollywood, the studio is the repository of research and development and technique. And a director would go in, and there was the special effects team, and there was the optical printer team, and there were the people who would do the matte shots and so forth.
Right.
Today, a director, and it's particularly true of these three directors, has to be an expert on all of those areas, and these guys particularly Lucas up in his Skywalker Ranch, are financing their own research and development. They're inventing new tools in order to help them make the movies they want to make.
Well, they've also made movies that we all want to see. Now, all these pictures are available on home video that they've made. I'm going to ask you a question. Go director by director and say, what would you recommend to people that they rent for each of the three guys?
If they only had to rent one film, well, with Lucas, I would just go right ahead and I would rent Star Wars, because that is the central film, I think, of his saga. With Scorsese, it'd be Raging Bull. And with Spielberg, it'd be E.T.
Well, I'm going to pick some odd choices that people might not think about. For Lucas, I think that his best film remains American Graffiti. And it's a picture that's more than just a joyride. It's a great celebration, one long night. It changed the way movie music was used, and I think it's a fabulous film. My favorite Spielberg picture is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He told me that he doesn't like the version where he went back into the ship, but that was the only way he could do some earlier editing.
He doesn't like the expanded version.
No, he doesn't. He thinks that it should end going to the ship. So maybe the original version, or stop your projector, your video VCR, when it gets to the inside of the ship in the expanded version. And for Spielberg, for Martin Scorsese, I think that Mean Streets is a remarkable effort made in 1973. You'll see the guts of the guy there.
Do you think that those three films are the best three films by those directors?
I did say that it is for Spielberg. I believe Close Encounters is his best, and I believe, yes, it is Lucas's best, American Graffiti. And Mean Streets is certainly as good as anything that
you know, one thing
Scorsese
I think we would both agree on is that you can hardly find a bad film from any of these guys to rent. I mean, they're really pretty good directors. And I'm Roger Ebert.
I'm Gene Siskel. Thanks for watching.
Who is Darkman? Find out this summer. Inverness One-Touch Roll-On Waxer removes hair for weeks at a time and leaves skin smooth and silky. From the hair removal specialists, Inverness. Safer, effective pesticides for use in the garden, the home, and on pets. Designed with the environment in mind. Murder on bugs, but not on us. We're safer. Your Life Daily Vitamin Packs. Each one a total daily vitamin system, specially formulated for a variety of lifestyles.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron, your host for the secrets of the Back to the Future trilogy. In the next half hour, we'll take an inside look at the amazing trilogy of films that have carried Marty McFly and Doc Brown across the time barrier, spanning more than a century of adventure. We'll also answer some of the burning questions that Back to the Future fans all over the world have asked us. Whether it's about hoverboards, runaway trains, or mystery scenes, we'll answer your letters. And as you can see, we have plenty of letters to choose from.
Hey, fella! You Kirk Cameron?
Yes, sir.
This telegram just arrived for you.
For me?
That's right.
Oh, hey, it looks like our first question. Grady Cooper from Sioux City, Iowa writes,
Dear Back to the Future, when I saw Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3, I left the theater wishing I had a hoverboard. Then I saw an interview with the director saying they were real. The next day, I went to all the toy stores and sporting good outlets, and I could never find one. What's the deal?
Well, I'm sorry to break the news to you, Grady, but director Robert Zemeckis was only joking. Hoverboards have yet to be invented, but maybe someday. But if hoverboards don't actually exist, then how did the filmmakers make them look so realistic in the film? Well, it wasn't easy. By combining old movie tricks and modern technology, the filmmakers, with the help of a few fearless individuals,
Hey, how are you?
met the hoverboard challenge head-on. A lot of the hoverboarding that only showed Michael above the knees was achieved by having him ride an ordinary skateboard.
Son of a... It's been 5 years. I thought I'd been ready to do that.
Paths of plywood were laid over almost every inch of the town square to make it look like Michael was effortlessly gliding over rough terrain. Sometimes a platform dolly was used to give Michael and the other actors an even smoother ride. Director Robert Zemeckis had a special harness designed which allowed the actors to fly from an intricate series of wires supported by an industrial crane.
You know, what we got to do is we got to get another crane, and you can hang your phone here.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, some very creative camera rigs, all to create the illusion of flight.
The film is actually a combination of different special effects techniques, whether it was high-tech, low-tech, physical effect, or an optical effect. Just about every type of special effect known to man was used in making the hoverboards fly.
Oh, God!
Hang in there. We'll be right back with more secrets of the Back to the Future trilogy.
I eat sausage with onions with your president, and my wife is telling me get losky. So, I take a Clorets.
Hello, my little babushka. Only Clorets has Actazol with chlorophyll. Gets rid of bad breath fast.
I eat a tuna on rye with a couple of onions, and now I could yell fire. Nobody'd come to my rescue. So I take a Clorets.
You called? Only Clorets has Actazol with chlorophyll. Gets rid of bad breath fast.
The 90s are here, and so is a way to explore new horizons. Introducing the new four-door Explorer from Ford. Explore an interior with more room than any competitor. Explore its exclusive push-button four-wheel drive. Explore its 4-liter V6 power. Discover new four-door Explorer from Ford.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
This is Special Bulletin, a movie that could come true.
What's going on here? What's happening here?
You'll pray that it won't.
My colleagues and I have constructed our own nuclear device.
3 desperate men hold millions hostage.
What kind of people would do that to a whole city?
Special Bulletin, as real as your own life. Don't miss it. It will shock you.
Watch the Channel 9 Saturday night movie, Special Bulletin, tonight at 8.
The 1990 Sunbirds. They're Pontiac's very affordable getaway machines. Fun to drive, easy to own. The new Pontiac Sunbirds. You've got to check them out. And now with up to $1,600 cash back, Sunbird's more affordable than ever.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron, and welcome back to the secrets of the Back to the Future trilogy. Now, here's a letter from a Mr. Joey Farmer, which reads,
Dear Back to the Future, I'm a car salesman in a major metropolitan area, and I gotta say, the main reason I go and see them Back to the Future movies is to check out that DeLorean time vehicle. Boy, is that baby flat equipped. If you could give me a rundown of some of the features of this fine machine, I'd be much obliged.
Well, Mr. Farmer, the DeLorean has undergone a lot of changes throughout the 3 Back to the Future films. Now, the essentials, like the flux capacitor,
This is what makes time travel possible.
the time circuit, and the destination keypad have always stayed the same. But for traveling forward to the future, Doc Brown took the DeLorean concept to new heights. Modified and futurized with a simple hover conversion from the year 2015, the DeLorean was able to defy gravity as well as the time barrier. But if you're traveling through time, you're going to encounter some different terrain. Whether you're crossing the high plains or riding the rails in the Old West, the DeLorean is the time machine of choice. Look out! In our next letter, Mrs. Virginia Shaw writes in,
Dear Back to the Future, those Back to the Future movies look like they'd be very hard for the actors, with all that running and chasing and getting hit all the time. Is it really as hard as it looks?
Well, Mrs. Shaw, it is true that one of the things the Back to the Future films are known for is the physical demands placed on the actors. Through it all, Michael J. Fox and director Robert Zemeckis have developed a philosophical attitude.
Bob and I have an expression that we used on the first movie, which is pain is temporary, film is forever. And, you know, that's the way you got to look at it. You know, you get hit in the head a couple of times to make a great film. It's kind of worth it. I love action, you know, and I love to do stuff, you know. I love it when I do something and, you know, I can hear somebody go, they're not going to let him do that, are they? And I'm like, hey, they can't stop me from doing it.
While co-star Tom Wilson liked the physical side of his role, he was glad when it was over.
Nice shot, Doc!
In a film that demands a lot of physicality, you just have to do it, you know? I'm not a macho guy at all. I'm anything but, you know? I mean, I don't like volunteer. Hey, Bob, let me do that one. The falling off the building thing, hey, that's mine. It's mine. Don't get a stuntman.
Yes! While all three Back to the Future movies are action-packed, the final part of the trilogy presented a new series of challenges for the actors.
Galloping at a breakneck speed on horseback, you know, spinning a rope over your head, you know, kicking the horse, saying, "Hia," you know. There's something I never thought I would actually yell at a horse, "Hia." I always thought, you know, if I yell something at a horse, it will be like, "Easy, big fella." Something like that, something like, "Whoa."
I don't know if part 3 was especially more physically demanding than part 2. It just seemed like there was something new every day. Just running and jumping and falling and being dragged. And then also a lot of stuff on the train, running along the tops of the train. It's fun. I mean, I really enjoy it.
Good one.
One more, Dan. Shooting action sequences requires more than physical strength. Scenes must be carefully choreographed and rehearsed.
When it comes to a fight sequence, it takes a lot of time to set these things up because not only does it have to look exciting, but it has to be totally safe for the actors. Just don't come at him with the pain, come at him with the rage.
Right.
After you realize that he's hoodwinked you.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Action!
With the actors set, the scene was ready to be shot.
People just don't realize the glamour, the excitement of Hollywood. Kids, come on to California. Come, become actors. Do stuff like this. I hate manure.
Cut. Trent, one more, just like that. Beauty.
Well, this is me, Tom Wilson, bidding you a fond adios for now. Goodbye, everybody.
See, being an actor isn't always easy. You've got to be prepared for anything.
Are you Kirk Cameron?
Yeah, I got a letter for you. Thanks. Oh, great letter. It comes from a David Palmer who says,
Dear Back to the Future, I just watched the original Back to the Future on videotape for the 27th time, and I think I found a mistake.
27th time?
In the scene where Marty dresses up like a spaceman to scare his father in the 50s, I noticed a modern-day hairdryer attached to his belt. Now, I know Marty didn't bring a blow-dryer with him, so how do you explain that one?
Well,
My name is Darth Vader.
here's the scene David was referring to. And yep, there's the hairdryer, all right. But it's no mistake.
I knew it.
Here in this never-before-seen shot from Back to the Future, we find out where that hairdryer came from.
So, these are all my personal belongings, huh?
Yep.
What's this thing?
It's a hairdryer.
A hairdryer? But don't they have towels in the future? Look at these underpants. What's this? Suddenly the future's looking a whole lot better.
Our next letter comes from a Dr. D. Allen Burris, a history professor at a noted Ivy League university. It reads,
Dear Back to the Future, as an educator in the study of human history, I have come to the inalterable conclusion that history tends to repeat itself. Is my understanding correct?
Your conclusion couldn't be more correct, Professor. In fact, Marty McFly came to the same conclusion, the hard way.
Take a look and see what just breezed in the door.
Welcome to the Cafe 80s.
What'll it be, stranger?
Give me a Pepsi free.
Ice water? Ice?
All I want is a Pepsi.
Hey, Fly! What do you think you're doing?
Griff.
I thought I told you to stay in here.
He's Griff.
You ain't Seamus McFly.
You're Mad Dog Tannen.
Nobody calls me Mad Dog.
You better run, squirrel.
Stay tuned for more secrets of the Back to the Future trilogy. Or are you chicken?
Like you just stepped out of a salon. Selected, salon shine. Salon selected, salon glow. Like you just stepped out of a salon. Selected.
Salon Selectives, developed in the salons of Helene Curtis to give you personalized combinations of shampoos and conditioners, styling products, and salon treatments. Select exactly what you need for salon beautiful hair.
Like you just stepped out. You just stepped out of a salon. Selected.
Feel salon beautiful every day.
Salon selected.
What's it like to taste the cold? Cold is a taste you can feel. Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet. Break the ice.
Dorothy, will you marry me? Where's my ring? A lifesaver? It's the beginning. Don't worry. We'll live with my mother.
Lifesavers candy. Isn't life delicious?
Did you know that if you bite into a wintergreen lifesaver in the dark, it makes a spark?
Really?
Lifesavers candy. Isn't life delicious?
Come down to Florida, down by the sea. On a blanket with my baby, is where I'll be.
Nobody flies kids to Florida like Eastern. Only $29 each way, Coach, when accompanied by an adult, between June 4th and September 9th.
On a blanket with my baby, is where I'll be.
We'll return to the secrets of the Back to the Future trilogy.
The 1990 Sunbirds, their Pontiac's very affordable getaway machines. fun to drive, easy to own. The new Pontiac Sunbirds. You've got to check them out. And now with up to $1,600 cash back, Sunbird's more affordable than ever.
Siemens 4th of July sale and special 10% down offer is now in progress. Qualified buyers get the furniture you want for just 10% down plus tax with extra savings from Siemens bonus coupons in your newspaper. Get this sofa and love seat set for just $77 down plus tax. This 5-piece bedroom only $80 down. Or this 5-piece mirrored entertainment center just $120 down. That's Siemens 4th of July sale and 10% down offer. Don't miss it.
Well, here's an interesting letter from a young girl who writes,
Dear Back to the Future, I haven't had a chance to see Back to the Future Part 3 yet, but somebody spilled the beans that Doc Brown falls in love in this movie. Doc Brown in love? Just what kind of a woman does it take to win Doc's heart?
well, obviously, the Doc wouldn't fall for just any woman. The love of Doc's life is a very special lady. And let's face it, very few relationships start out like this.
I'm Brown at your service, miss.
Clayton. Clara Clayton.
Mary Steenburgen plays a schoolteacher with whom the Doc falls madly in love.
She's a little bit eccentric, and her head's a little bit in the clouds. I mean, she's really interested in science and astronomy and telescopes and looking at the stars.
If you move it this way, the image turns fuzzy. See? But if you turn it the other way...
Everything becomes clear.
I think at the beginning of this story, Marty's very concerned about Clara as being a giant distraction for the Doc. And then he begins to see that his old friend has fallen in love, and this is astounding to him. The Doc in love is hard to believe.
What do you mean you're going to be seeing lots of her, Doc?
Well, I might see her again just in passing.
He and Doc kind of switch roles, and, you know, Marty sort of becomes more of the adult, and Doc becomes the young man in love.
Evening. You look very nice.
Thank you.
She's quirky in her own ways, which makes her find Doc Brown attractive. She's got some independence. She's got some spunk. She's somebody that we hope the audience will want to see the Doc be in love with.
You know, I'm almost glad that snake spooked those horses. Otherwise, we might never have met. Suppose it was destiny.
When she meets the Doc, it's like nothing ever made sense in her whole life until that moment.
You're quite welcome.
So it's pretty much instant in love, and they're sort of kindred spirits in a way. I think that they were both kind of misfits in whatever time they were in, but when they're together, everything makes sense.
I never met a woman who liked Jules Fred before.
I never ever met a man like you before.
So Doc finally falls in love. So in love that he's willing to alter time itself to be with her. But just what happens when you alter time? Well, that's exactly what high school student Willie Richter wants to know.
Dear Back to the Future, I've been reading a lot of books about time travel, and they keep mentioning the cause and effect theory of time travel. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. If we take a look at Biff's actions in Back to the Future Part 2, we have a prime example of this cause and effect theory. By stealing the DeLorean and traveling back to 1955, Biff was able to alter history. By bringing a sports almanac from the year 2015 back with him, Biff was able to give himself forbidden knowledge about the outcome of every major sporting event for the next 50 years.
All you gotta do is bet on the winner and you'll never lose.
And the result was catastrophic. Biff had succeeded in creating an alternate present, a nightmare come true. The Hill Valley Courthouse was now a casino. The town square had been transformed into a war zone. And in this scene that was eventually cut from the film, we see what became of Marty's high school.
This is nuts.
But just what happens to Biff when he returns to the future? Well, it's likely that his wife Lorraine shot him sometime in the mid-1990s. Because as we can see in this scene that was also cut from the film, Biff is literally erased from existence in the year 2015. And finally, a question lots of Back to the Future fans have been asking. This letter comes to us from a little boy who says,
Dear Back to the Future, I just saw Back to the Future Part 3, and my favorite part of it was the train stuff near the end. My question is, didn't they get into trouble for running that old train off a cliff?
well, the answer is no. They didn't get into trouble for running that train off a cliff. But that's not to say it wasn't a lot of trouble to do.
Marty, are the time circuits on?
Check, Doc.
The Doc and Marty have a very simple problem. They have to get the DeLorean up to 88 miles an hour, and even though a steam train can't go that fast, the Doc, being a man of science, figures out a way to do it for a few seconds anyway.
Doc! The red line's about to blow!
Even though the train took quite a beating, there was a limit to what the filmmakers could do.
Obviously, it's impossible to take a real 100-year-old antique steam train and throw it off a cliff, so we went to Industrial Light and Magic and had them build a miniature one for us, and we threw that one off the cliff.
A team of special effects technicians painstakingly created a quarter-scale train.
It's as small as we could make it, you know, as the model, and still retain, you know, all the scale of this explosion in the surrounding area, everything to look right. It's a nice, beautiful, expensive model sitting down there. Gorgeous thing, the model makers love it, and we're about to take it and fling it off this trestle and smash it to pieces.
We've relieved the frame, the chassis, has strategic points that hopefully it'll crunch and bend just like it should. And it's all over in 2 seconds, and it was about a 2-month job to put it together.
The production crew used 6 cameras to capture every angle of the crash. And after one final safety check, everything was ready. There'll be more secrets of the Back to the Future trilogy blasting your way after this.
Tonight, a whole new kind of taste. Ragu, fresh Italian pasta sauce.
How fresh could it taste?
Now that tastes fresh. Ragu fresh Italian, cooked with more crushed tomatoes for more fresh tomato taste.
I love what you do for me, Toyota. I love how you set me free. I love it. I said I love it.
If you've got the will, Toyota is the way.
I love what you do for me, Toyota.
Dear Jenny, you're so neat. No. Usually pour my heart out like this. I'm mesmerized. Your effervescent charm. I will always thirst for your companionship. And I feel so special. I feel like a Pepsi.
Save over $11 on 24 packs of Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, and caffeine-free Diet Pepsi cans. Available in stores now.
Share a day in the country as a great new adventure begins. It's fun, it's fast, it's a ball, it's a blast. It's the best it's ever been. It's a whole new adventure with a million things to do. It's a whole new adventure. Great adventure is waiting.
Kids are half price, and adults save $5 with coupons at participating Roy Rogers.
On the next Cosby Show, swing your partner, don't let go,
Good Times on The Cosby Show.
Tonight at 7, right here on Channel 9.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this inside peek at the Back to the Future trilogy. I know I have. But, you know, there still is one more Back to the Future secret that everybody seems to want to know the answer to.
Is there going to be a Back to the Future Part 4?
Well, it doesn't look likely, partner. But, you know, Back to the Future will live on in Back to the Future The Ride. It opens in November of 1990 at Universal Studios, Florida. I'm Kirk Cameron. Thanks again for joining me. And remember, the future is what you make of it.
Tonight on the Channel 9 Saturday Night Movie, watch the thrilling made-for-TV drama Special Bulletin starring Ed Flanders and Catherine Walker. Share in the suspense when foreign terrorists threaten to destroy American territory. Stay tuned for Special Bulletin next on Channel 9.